Hey everybody, how you doing? Joe McCall here, and on this quick little video, I'm going to share with you an answer to a common question that I get from people that are just getting started, and it's this. I don't have enough money to buy deals. How do I get started? All right, so those of you that don't know me, I'm Joe McCall. I'm the creator of the Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. Been doing that podcast since 2011 and have millions of downloads from people all over the world. And I love this business. I love doing deals and I love teaching people how to do deals. But this is a common question we get from a lot of people. Hey, I don't have any money to buy deals. How can I buy properties without any money? Now, you've got some money, but a lot of people don't have the 10, 20% to put down on properties that a lot of banks require, right? So you know some of the struggles that people have. You want to get cash flow. You've read some good books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it talks about how to escape the rat race. You need to own rental properties, right? Well, everybody thinks that in order to rent or to buy rental properties, you have to go out and get a bank loan. You got to get a private lender. You need to get hard money loan. Maybe you need to just use your own cash or raid your 401k or whatnot. But I want to tell you something that's really, really important. There are many ways to buy good cash flowing rental real estate without going out and getting a loan or using your own money or using a bunch of private money. There's ways like lease options and owner financing and subject twos. And of those, my favorite is lease options, right? You can control really incredibly valuable real estate using a lease option. I think it was Rockefeller, some rich dude way back then, said this: the secret to wealth is to own nothing and control everything. Let me say it again. The secret to wealth is to own nothing and control everything. And that's what lease options allow you to do. A lease option allows you to control a very expensive, valuable piece of real estate without actually owning it. So you get all the benefits of owning rental property without actually going out and getting a loan and going into debt, right? And a lease option, if you didn't know, it's just a lease where you have a contract with an owner of a property, you lease a property for a period of time with an option to buy it in the future. And you can then rent it from that seller. Let's say the house is, just using simple round numbers, $100,000. You can enter into a lease option contract to rent it from the seller for $500, and you go out and you rent it for $800 or $900 a month. So you're getting $400 a month, $300 to $400 a month of cash flow. You pay the seller $500 a month, you rent it out for $800 a month. That's good, $300 a month cash flow. You're going to buy it from the seller, not at crazy significant discounts, right? Like when you're doing traditional wholesaling or buy and hold, you need to buy that $100,000 property at maybe $60,000 or $70,000. But with a lease option, you can buy it for maybe $85,000 or $90,000. So I'm going to buy it for $85,000 from that seller, and I'm going to sell it to my tenant buyer for maybe $110,000. And so you can make money using lease options without going out and buying a house. 3 different ways: cash now, cash flow, and cash later, right? Cash now, when you get that property under contract, you get a tenant buyer to live in the home. Then you're going to get some money from that tenant buyer to put down on that house, right? That's the cash now. You're going to get some cash flow, a couple, $300, $400 a month. And over time, that really builds up, right? And that's the difference between what you're paying the seller and what you're renting it to the tenant buyer for, right? And then at the end, your cash later is the difference between what you're selling it to that tenant buyer for and what you're buying it from the seller for. So you're buying it for $85,000, you're selling it for $110,000. What is that? A $25,000 spread you make on the back end. That is crazy awesome, good cash flow that you're getting from a property because you're a little creative. You didn't go out and get a loan. You didn't go out and borrow private money. You didn't take over the mortgage. I used to do a lot of those called subject twos. I don't like subject twos at all, right? I used to think that you had to own the property to really control it, that you had to own a property to get the most return from it. Big, big mistake, right? When I was doing that, I was way over leveraged. I had way too much debt. And guess what happens when the market crashes or when the deal goes bad? You can't get out of it, right? You can't just say, you know what, bank, I'm sorry, I don't want this house anymore. Here, just take it back. They're not going to want it back, right? They may take it back, but it's going to ruin your credit. You're going to get a foreclosure and all of that, and it's not a good situation. So, lease options give you the same power of owning that investment real estate without taking the risk and the obligations that buying a house the traditional way does. If the deal goes bad on a lease option, the way my contracts work, I can actually get out of the deal. Now, there's rare circumstances when I do that, but I can actually get out of the deal. So it just gives you many more options. Not having the money to buy a rental property or to buy real estate is a bad excuse for getting started, right? Now that you understand a little bit about creative real estate, you can buy as much real estate as you want without getting any loans. So you're not limited to that, right? Like a lot of banks, when you're getting a loan, they're going to require you to have a certain percent down. They look at your debt to income. Sometimes they won't even count all of the rent that's coming in from that property. They may only count like 75% of the rent. And then they're going to look at what other portfolio, what else do you have, and how much debt to equity do you have, and those things, right? Here's the cool thing, and I'll end this video with this. If you just did one sandwich lease option deal a month, like I was kind of similar to what I was talking about, maybe more in the median price range of $150,000 to $250,000 if you're in the Midwest. If you just did one of those lease option deals a month, within 3 years, you would have over $10,000 in monthly cash flow coming in and over $1 million in equity. Just doing one a month over 3 years. Now, what would stop you from doing maybe 2 a month and meet that goal in 1.5 years, you know? It's very, very simple to do this, and you can do this in any market in the country. You don't have to do it in your own backyard. One lease option deal a month. You're gonna get $300 to $400 a month cash flow. You get maybe $25,000, $35,000 in back-end profit. You look at the numbers, it's pretty amazing. You can have over $10,000 in cash flow, over $1 million in equity, just doing one of those lease option deals a month. Why not, right? Why not? So, if you want more information about how to do lease options, again, get my book, WLObook.com. It's free, just pay shipping and handling, they'll ship it out to you. And I explain what a lease option is. There's different ways to do lease options. A wholesaling lease option is where you kind of flip it for fast cash, so you can make a fast nickel or a slow dime using lease options. But get this book, it's free, WLObook.com. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you.